She couldn't remember the last time her foot touched the ground without fear crawling up her spine. Every step since the accident had been calculated, rehearsed, guarded by metal braces and hovering hands, as if the earth itself had become unreliable. She learned how not to fall. The rest of the world kept moving at full speed, never slowing down to wait for her. And yet, inside a bright, echoing car workshop filled with the sharp smell of oil, steel, and warm engines, something was about to happen that no one in that building was prepared for. Not the mechanics wiping grease from their hands. Not the quiet girl bracing herself for disappointment. Especially not the billionaire family that had already tried everything money could buy. Before we go any further, pause for just a second. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, please like this video. Share it with someone who needs hope today. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Her name was Arya Whitmore. She was 16 years old, once unstoppable on the soccer field, the kind of player who ran until others begged for water. 2 years earlier, a high-speed collision had shattered her leg and damaged the nerves beyond what surgeons expected to repair. The impact didn't just break bone, it broke confidence, rhythm, and the simple trust between her body and the ground beneath it. Since then, Arya moved carefully, as if gravity itself had turned against her. Her mother, Celeste Whitmore, was not used to accepting limits. She was a self-made billionaire who owned medical technology companies and private clinics across continents. When doctors said recovery would be slow, she made it faster. When they said it would be expensive, she made it irrelevant. When they finally said there was nothing more to be done, she refused to accept that answer. Arya had access to the best hospitals, cutting-edge robotic therapy, experimental treatments, and private specialists flown in from around the world. Each new approach arrived with hope, and each one eventually met the same invisible wall. Walking without assistance became the impossible line no one could cross. The workshop they stood in that day wasn't supposed to matter. It wasn't a clinic, a lab, or a center of innovation. Arya's custom adaptive vehicle needed a small modification, and the dealership subcontracted the work to a local mechanic known for precision and honesty. That mechanic was a single father named Rowan Hale. Rowan lived in a small rented house on the edge of town and raised his 8-year-old son alone after his wife passed away. He worked long hours, not chasing dreams, just trying to keep life steady. Years earlier, Rowan had been a competitive runner. Then a workplace accident crushed his knee, and the doctors gave him the same words Arya had heard: limited recovery, permanent adjustment. He never returned to racing, but he learned his body again inch by inch, movement by movement, guided not by expensive machines, but patience. When Rowan saw Arya step into the shop with her brace, something in him paused. It wasn't pity, it wasn't curiosity, it was recognition. He saw the careful tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes scanned the floor before every step. He finished the work on the car quickly, but instead of stepping back, he hesitated, then gently asked if he could try something different. Celeste stiffened. She had trusted experts with walls full of credentials. A mechanic with oil-stained hands did not fit her picture of hope. But before she could refuse, Arya looked at Rowan and nodded. She was tired of being protected from disappointment. She wanted to feel effort again, even if it led nowhere. Rowan didn't bring machines, charts, or promises. He adjusted her brace, checked her balance, and spoke quietly about weight shifting, about listening instead of forcing. He explained how muscles wake up slowly, how the body needs trust more than pressure, and how progress can't be rushed or bought. One mechanic leaned against a toolbox. Another stopped tightening bolts. The workshop gradually fell silent, as if everyone sensed something fragile unfolding. Celeste stood a few steps back, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles turned white. For the first time in years, she had no leverage. No authority. No solution ready to deploy. Minutes passed that felt like hours. Arya's breathing slowed. Her shoulders relaxed. Then, almost imperceptibly, her foot pressed down. Not dragged. Not supported. Pressed. Her knee held. Her body remembered something it had forgotten. One step became half a step. Then another. No one applauded. No one moved. Even the air seemed afraid to interfere. Celeste felt her knees weaken as tears blurred her vision. For the first time since the accident, her daughter wasn't surviving movement. She was owning it. The doctors had focused on fixing damage. Rowan focused on rebuilding trust. That difference changed everything. Over the next few weeks, Arya returned to the shop regularly, not because it was a clinic, but because it felt human. Rowan adjusted exercises between oil changes and school pickups. Arya fell. She stood. She failed. She tried again. Sometimes she left frustrated. Sometimes exhausted. But she always came back. Celeste watched, not as a billionaire overseeing an investment, but as a mother witnessing resilience unfold. She realized that money had insulated her from patience. It had allowed her to skip discomfort, but healing demanded it. Arya's progress wasn't miraculous in the way headlines like to frame hope. It was slow, uneven, and frustrating. But it was real. She walked short distances without support, then longer ones. Her brace became lighter, then occasional. Each step carried the weight of everything she had endured and everything she still feared losing. Rowan never took credit. He always said, some things just need time, and someone willing to stand close without pushing. Celeste changed too. She began visiting the shop alone, bringing coffee, listening more than she spoke. She funded programs quietly, without naming rights or press releases, inspired by the idea that access should include dignity. In Rowan, she saw a kind of strength money couldn't manufacture. In her daughter, she saw a courage she had underestimated. If this story is touching something in you right now, if it's reminding you that real change often comes from unexpected places, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and engage with us. Your support tells us these stories matter. Months later, Arya walked across her school stage to accept an academic award, unassisted. No brace. No hand to hold. In the crowd, Rowan stood with his son on his shoulders, clapping until his hands hurt. Celeste watched with tears that no longer felt heavy. The journey hadn't restored everything Arya lost, but it gave her something more enduring, belief in her own body and faith in people. Before we end, we have one special request. Comment below with a single word that describes how this story made you feel. Hope. Strength. Gratitude. Whatever comes to your heart. Because sometimes the greatest miracles don't come from billion-dollar labs or world-famous doctors. Sometimes they come from a single dad in a quiet workshop, choosing to care when others had already given up.